The divide between Fullmetal Alchemist and Fullmetal Brotherhood is one that spans more than a decade, with people arguing on both sides as to which one is better. However, the question of which anime is superior to the other really isn't important regarding Alchemist and Brotherhood, because there's something to love in both of them. Today we'll be looking at some of the main differences between these two anime. Ed's State Alchemist Exam. The story of the Elric brothers begins with Edward's promise to become a state alchemist. Ed knows the risk, but also understands that, as a state alchemist, he would have near unrestricted access to all kinds of research and knowledge. And how the two shows approach this is very different. In FMA, Edward travels without a central over the course of a few episodes in order to take the exam. They were given the opportunity by Colonel Roy Mustang, but he put them to the test by having them thwart a terrorist plot and save a high-ranking general's life in order to take the test. Ed is just turning 13 and would normally be too young to take the exam, so Mustang puts them up with Shao Tucker to train and study for his exam. This happens over the course of about 2 episodes before we get to the actual exam. During said exam, Ed saves the life of some other test takers by using his alchemy without a transmutation circle, an ability he didn't know he had before. This earns him a pocket watch and state certification. In Brotherhood, well, Ed merely has an audience with Fur Bradley and attempts to ramp him with a spear he made without a transmutation circle. Oddly enough, this attempt on Bradley's life is rewarded rather than having him court-martialed. Scar's story. The Ishvalan monk with the X-shaped scar in both OG and Brotherhood. Scar's the anti-hero on a mission from God. While in both shows he has similar motivations and powers, the backstory leading up to it are presented differently. In FMA, Scar's brother is studying alchemy and becomes obsessed with the science to the point where he appears mad. Fast forward to the present, and Scar seems more lost about why his brother gave him the arm to begin with and is looking for more of a purpose, letting God guide him through the world. In Brotherhood, Scar is on a set mission of vengeance against the state alchemist who slaughtered his people in Ishval. Not only that, but his brother is seen a more scholarly figure, studying both alchemy and Alka history, something that's not even mentioned in the original show. The death of Maze Hughes. The death of Maze Hughes is a tragic point in the franchise, second only to the tragedy of Nina Tucker, but we won't talk about that one. Over 10 years later, and it's still one of the saddest points in the anime. Back to Hughes, he was an integral part of the plot to both anime. However, there are some key differences and consequences resulting from Hughes' death. In FMA, Hughes is given significantly more screen time. We get a chance to see him and how much he cares for his family, especially his daughter. The running joke about his obsession with his daughter paints the man as a prideful but caring husband and father, which makes it all the more tragic when he's killed. While both shows do show his death, Brotherhood shows it more of a struggle than an assassination. In Brotherhood, we see the deep and vengeful consequences of his murder. In both cases, Envy was the one who kills him, but in Brotherhood, Mustang finds Envy and lets him have it to the fullest extent of his power. The country of Xing. There isn't a point of comparison here because the country of Xing and any characters that come from it aren't in the original anime at all. This means no Yao Ming, Old Man Fu, Mai, and Lan Fan. They're some of the best characters that come out of the franchise, and they don't even get a mention in the original anime. The Chinese-inspired country to the east of Amestris is extremely significant to the plot of Brotherhood. Not only does Xing give us an entire B-cast of characters with their own motivations and backstories, but Xing is also the birthplace of Alka history, an entirely new form of alchemy that holds the key to trying to stop the main bad guy's evil doomsday plot. It's also the other form of alchemy that Scar's brother was studying, and even combines them in an all-new way. Now, without Xing, you don't get the special alchemy that can help defeat the main bad guy. But what if you don't need it? This is perhaps why the original anime didn't need Xing, because Dante didn't need to be stopped with a new perspective on this magic science. That or the manga wasn't 100% finished when this came out, so maybe they didn't know how it was gonna end. The point is, one of these shows is missing an entire country from its story. Well, 2 if you count Xerxes. Sloth. The homunculi and Fullmetal Alchemist share a lot of similarities, or at least the main ones do. Envy, gluttony, lust, and greed are all more or less the same in FMA and Brotherhood, minus the fact that some of them die and some of them live depending on which one you watch. However, one of the key differences between FMA and Brotherhood are that, in the original, homunculi are born of failed human transmutation, and are given the weird powers from that. This is what brings about Sloth, the homunculus created from trying to bring back their mother. In the original, Sloth is a spitting image of their mother, except she she can turn into water and she's evil. In Brotherhood, homunculi are made by fusing a person to a philosopher's stone or by creating one from a stone. They're near immortal beings with amazing powers, and they're also evil. In Brotherhood, Sloth is a large, hulking mess of a man who, oddly enough, is the fastest of the homunculi, but is just so lethargic and apathetic that he doesn't often use his speed. Even without the speed, Sloth in Brotherhood is an absolute unit. He takes a tank shot to the chest like it's nothing and just bites it off. There's no stopping Sloth, except when he wants to sleep. Wrath, Pride. In the original, Pride is Bradley, and that would leave Wrath to be this whiny little kid out to kill the Elric brothers. You see, in the original, because homunculi were made with failed human transmutations, Wrath is actually the failed child of Izumi. Despite Wrath being named for what he is, he's actually more envious of the fact that Edward and Alphonse had a family while he didn't. Now in Brotherhood, Wrath is King Bradley, still the old guy with the eye patch. Pride, on the other hand, is Selim Bradley, the Führer's son. Pride in this one is actually the first homunculus and is shaped in his father's own image, thus the name Pride. Pride's a lot colder and more vicious than the other homunculi, and it shows when he eats gluttony. Names and powers aside, explaining the differences is easier seen than described. However, for these two characters, the shows are widely different. Riza Hawkeye. This difference matters more to the supporting cast and Mustang than anyone else, but the role that Riza Hawkeye plays in Brotherhood is a lot more involved. In the original, she has her moments. She's there for Mustang and the boys, and does her part to help them succeed, but in Brotherhood, we see her take a bigger part as the moral compass and guiding hand for a lot of characters in the series. For Ed, she tells him the real horrors that went on in Ishval, and the effect it had on everyone involved, which leads into Mustang's plan for Amistris when he becomes Führer. More importantly, we'd argue, is that the bond between Mustang and Riza is deep. How deep? Well, it's revealed that Mustang was taught alchemy by Riza's father, who fell ill and wanted Mustang to promise to look after Riza, who had the notes of his research tattooed on her back. After the war in Ishval, Riza and Mustang promised to burn her back to make sure no one else can learn flame alchemy, after what it was used for on all those innocent people. From that moment, Riza and Mustang have been looking after one another. Not only is Riza looking out for Mustang with the eye of a hawk, but it's also with a guiding hand to help him reach his goal and make the country of Amistris great. The Door of Truth. Humankind can't gain anything without first giving something in return. To obtain something, another thing of equal value must be lost. This is alchemy's first law of equivalent exchange, and back then, we believe that to be the world's one and only truth. The opening line of the original gives us all we need to establish the boys' thoughts and motivation at the beginning of each episode. While they may have learned this fact at the beginning, the real knowledge is kept behind the Door of Truth. This monolithic, otherworldly door keeps alchemy's best-kept secrets and knowledge. In both series, the Door of Truth is responsible for taking Al's body, as well as Ed's arm and leg. The door is guarded by a blank entity called Truth, who's tasked with punishing those who misuse alchemy. However, in the original, the door also serves another purpose and acts as a portal to another world. The real world, like our world. How the doors function is also slightly different. In the original, there's no entity to guide the door and test those who wish to open it. Also, Al's body is nowhere to be seen for the longest time in the original, where, in Brotherhood, we know it's waiting next to Al's Door of Truth for his soul and body to merge once again. The villain. It's always said that a series is only as good as its villain, and both series deliver with some good villains in their own way. While the goal for both is, for the most part, the same, the methods, reason, and scale for doing so are all different. Let's begin with the original, where we have Dante. She's merely a human, just an ordinary woman wanting what every woman wants, immortality. How does she do this? Well, she uses the Philosopher's Stone to put herself in new bodies and just switches them out every now and then. In Brotherhood, the villain, Father, is actually the very first homunculus, Dwarf in the Flask. He's made a huge transmutation in Xerxes. To make him and Hohenheim living Philosopher's Stones, he planned on doing the same with Amestris, to give himself the power and knowledge of God. He does this by controlling the government of Amestris with King Bradley, of course, to make a countrywide transmutation circle and sacrifice the souls of millions of people in order to give himself untold power. Dante had a similar plan by merely living forever and being regarded as a god, but Father planned on backing up his claim to godhood with power and knowledge. The end. It's also been said that a series is only good as its ending. We've looked at different characters, consequences, and themes from both FMA and Brotherhood, but now it's all coming to an end for both series. They're so different you'd think they were separate properties altogether, with the original being a particularly sour one. In the original ending, it's revealed that the Door of Truth is a portal to another world, the real world. Ed manages to restore Al's body, but in doing so he finds that, to end the future spread of the evil, he has to close the door. On the other side, Ed finds some soldiers and is compelled to help them out, so he crosses over, and when he does, Ed loses his alchemy, and once the door closes on the other side, he's trapped in the real world during World War I, leaving Alphonse on the other side. In Brotherhood, the ending is much brighter. Edward sacrifices his door of truth to get Al's body back, and he could no longer perform alchemy without it. Yet the result is that Alphonse has his body back, Ed has his arm back, but not his leg, and ends up marrying Winry and having kids. All in all, it's a happily ever after that's deserved after years of hardship. And those were just some of the differences between Fullmetal Alchemist and Fullmetal Brotherhood. Which anime do you prefer? Do you agree with our list? Is there anything we may have missed? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more anime content. Thanks for watching.